Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. Yo, check it out. Julio Fulio's murder trial suspects wound up with life in prison. They beat the death penalty, right? They escaped death row, but life just started. They thought the verdict was the end, but nah, that ain't nothing. Because bottom line is, they thought that the court was pressure. They thought that the jury was pressure. They thought that death row was pressure. But prison life, that's a whole different monster right there. Because death row is one sentence. Life without parole is another sentence. That means every morning you wake up owned by a decision. Every night you go to sleep with that same decision. No release date. I did that for 26 years and I'm here to tell you that it's not worth it. And if you don't want to listen to me, I don't know what to tell you. No comeback story. No comeback story. No, I learned my lesson, Judge. Just steel doors, concrete walls, and memories that never shut up. Let's get this party started. All right. Hit that like button, hit that like button. Come on, hit the like button. Come in, give an emoji, do something. Give a little recommendation. You know what the Cash App is. Keep it moving. It's on the screen. The number is on the screen. We're going to do what we got to do. All right? You like it? All right. Now, check it out, right? I want to show you how this all began because what we're going to discuss is what these four men felt like walking in the courtroom from my experience going through the same procedures that they went through when I received life plus 20 years with no chance of parole in the federal prison, right? Now, they're going to tell you what prison is like, right? Now, let me go with this first. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. Let me do that. Check it out.
In the Department of Corrections, are there also what you consider faith and character facilities?
Yes, that is a new industry standard in the last 5 to 7 years. The Department of Corrections has quite a few of those that are spread out throughout the state.
And what do they offer to an inmate serving, well, I assume they don't include death row inmates, but if somebody's serving life without parole, what would that mean?
Anyone in the prison system up to life is eligible to be considered to go to that facility. For example, you have Sumter Correctional Institution, Everglades Correctional Institution, but you have to show a 2-year record of following the rules, no disciplinary reports, no kind of security concerns, just to be considered. There's an application process in which they will have to go through, because these facilities, they're also known as incentivized prisons. So they only want those inmates who are respectful, following the rules, and not going to be a security concern.
Now, this is the conversation they had to sit back and listen to so you could understand, right? So you could imagine what they felt like listening to this while this is going on, right? Now, the four men, they walked in the courtroom. 4 men walked in court. 4 men heard guilty. 4 men beat death row. But don't get it twisted. They did not beat prison, but they still got to serve life in prison. They did not beat the consequences. They did not beat the reality. They just traded one nightmare for another nightmare. And like I said, I went through it for 26 years, and it's a horrible nightmare. Death row is the state saying, we might take your life. Just sit there and wait, and one day we'll let you know if we're going to take your life. And this is what it's like living on death row. And then living with life in prison, it's like they expect me to die in a bag and be brought out in a pine box before I'm ever released to my family. I mean, life without parole is just a state, like I said, saying, we already took it. Now, let's talk about Davon Martin, right? I like this dude, right? Let's talk about these 4 men, right? what they getting ready to go into. We're gonna start off with Davion, Murphy. I keep saying Martin. Davion Murphy, he's different. Now, Davion Murphy, he's in a different category. The others look broken. The others look remorseful. The others look like reality hit them. But Davion, Davion looked like a man who already made peace with hell. And he's ready for whatever hell has to bring. Not because it was right, not because it was worth it, but because in his mind, this was bigger than the case. This was trauma. This was revenge. This was family pain. This was street poison mixed with grief. And that's dangerous. Revenge can feel righteous at times. You know how they say, let's ride. Y'all want to ride? We're going to take a ride. You know how they say, get it in blood? That's revenge feeling righteous. No money or materialistic thing in the world could satisfy your thirst for blood when you feel that you've been violated, when you have been traumatized into that world. And that's where I was at. Revenge can trick you. Revenge can feel like justice. Revenge can make prison feel acceptable because pain lies to you. Pain tells you, go get even. Pain tells you, stand on business. Pain tells you, they hurt yours, hurt theirs. But pain never tells you about the prison cell afterwards. Pain never tells you about your mother crying after. Pain never tells you about life without parole. Pain gets you there. Then pain leaves you right there where you at. And that's what we're trying to prevent over here at Unique Mecca Audio. So pay attention, because this is to the youth, but it's about what these four men is getting ready to go through because of the choices they made, and we're trying to prevent you from making those choices. Davion may survive prison different than the other three. Don't you agree? Put it in the comments. Davion may survive prison different because he already accepted the cost. He may walk in there with no fear. He may walk in with no begging. He may walk in like, this is what came with it, and I accept what came with it. And in prison, that mentality matters. Because prison smells weak. Niggas. Prison smells weakness. Prison tests regret. Prison tests fear. Prison tests your mouth. Prison tests your body, and prison tests your soul. A man who accepted forever is hard to break. And it looks like Davion already accepted that he has forever and a day. So it's going to be hard to break that one out there. He's straight going to work in the field. You're going to see Sean Garthright working in the law library, education department. You might see, Isaiah working in the psychology department. And, Rashid, you might see him, just going back and forth to the law library trying to find a loophole for all three of them. And I just gave you how co-defendants work. That's how when I was in there. You got Davion holding them down. They're going to make sure nothing happened to them if they're blessed to be in the same jail. They're going to live in different wings all over the jail because they're going to be living different ways of life when they get locked in their wings. Davion going to be just wilding, trying to control shit. Sean Garthright going to be just chilling, putting his curriculum together for the next day, trying to make his mother and father proud now from behind a prison cell instead of doing what they told him to do when he was out there. Isaiah, he went, played with a couple of girls, think he a pretty boy, you know what I mean? And, he got a famous case, and he work in the psychology department. He trying to manipulate certain things. You know, trying to just make whatever happen to make his way to be able to survive while he in prison. But Rashid now, he's gonna sit there and he's gonna have all the law books in his cell looking for that loophole for the whole gang. But like I said, prison tests regrets, man. It tests your fear. Prison tests your mouth, it tests your body, your soul, you know. And any man who accepts that forever, like I said, he hard to break. You know, but listen close. Hard to break does not mean free, because he will be trapped behind those steel walls, just so you understand. He may have principle, but he lost life. Some people would say he stood on principle. And you know, principle is that word that gets us all in a world of trouble. Some people say he accepted responsibility. Some people would say he didn't fold. But let me tell you the truth. Principle without wisdom is a coffin with a heartbeat. Standing tall in prison still means you're in prison. Being respected by inmates does not replace freedom. Being feared in prison does not bring home family. Just so you understand, being sold in a cell, like, look, being solid in a cell still means the cell owns you. That is the part that the streets hide. The other three, right? Let me tell you about, like I said, Sean, Isaiah, and Rashid, right? The other three are entering a different prison, right? Just so you understand. Now, the other three, they're entering a different war, not just with inmates, not just with staff. They are entering a war with their own conscience, because they have to sleep with what they did for the rest of their life, and that's what haunts you, because prison remorse in prison is heavy. Remorse has no off switch. Remorse sits on your bunk. Remorse, it walks with you, the child. Remorse stands in the shower with you. Remorse whispers at night, you threw your life away. And when there is no release date, that whisper gets loud and louder. Now, let's ride on the Sean Garthright. Let's ride on the Sean route. Sean Garthright already showed emotion. He already looked like the wall cracked. He already looked like the weight landed. And that is what happens. Young men act cold, right? Until consequences gets them nice and warm. They act fearless until the doors close. They act savage until mama speaks in court and begs for her baby life, like you've seen. They act ready until forever becomes real. The courtroom remorse might be real, but it came too late, because the late remorse does not unlock the prison gate. They're trapped. Now let's talk about Isaiah, the one I said is going to work in the psychology department. You see the way I've classified all of them without even being there? They have to read their paperwork and do all that. All I had to do was just watch the case. I know their whole life was going to go before them, you know, because I spent 26 of mine there. Isaiah Chance has to live with the setup. Isaiah Chance has a different burden, because when the state says you help find a target, that is the mental prison too. You may not be the main shooter, you may not be the loudest one, but in your role, it helped death happen. The prison listened, right? The prison system does not care how small you thought your part was. In the streets, everybody wants a role. A driver, a scout, a lookout, a planner. But in court, roles turn into years, and years turn into forever. Because every role you get has a different guideline range that determines the amount of time you get. So the lookout, you're still getting a couple of decades. But you know what I mean? And that's the way that is, right? Now, Rashad Murphy, right? Let's deal with him, right? He has grown man consciences. Rashid Murphy, he's not a child. He's a grown man. And grown men know what comes with grown decisions. When you are older, the court does not see confusion. The court sees participation. The court sees intent. The court sees choices. And prison sees age different too, because younger inmates may adapt fast. Older men think deeper. Older men count what they lost: their family, their kids, their health, their time. And time is the one thing you can never get back. They took 26 years of my life because I violated and poisoned my community, so I got what I deserve. I'm accepting of that. That's why I'm at peace to bring you this message, that I don't want you to have to go through what I went through to be acceptive of that. You know right from wrong. I'm not going to give you no excuses why I did what I did. I did it, and I went and I bettered myself, and I'm back from hell to tell you what's on the other side. And time is the one thing you cannot hustle back. I can't get back those 26 years, but I can try and do something from this day forward. You know what I mean? Prison is not a rap video. This is not a rap video where you make a fake prison cell and you've been doing all this, making millions over record. This is not it, right? Let me make this clear. Prison is not a rap video. Prison is not an Instagram. Prison is not comments. Prison is not likes. Prison is not fans screaming your name. Prison is lights on and count time. Prison is strip searches. Prison is lockdowns. Prison is bad food. Prison is noise all night. Prison is men watching you. Prison is politics every day. Prison is being tired and still having to be alert. Where you can never rest because you always have to be on survival mode. And that's the truth. That's what you want to enter into? Go take my old bed and sell 228. You know what I mean? Oh, that's a TV, so you can lay in bed and watch TV all night for the rest of your life. Now, let's talk about life without parole, where we ride. Life without parole is not just a sentence. It is a slow death. You're breathing, but your calendar is dead. You're walking, but your future is dead. You're eating, but your freedom is dead. You're talking, but your normal life is gone. Every holiday happens without you. Every birthday happens without you. Every funeral happens without you. Every child is born and grows up without you. 26 years, I don't even know my own nieces and nephews, never even met them, but love them to death because I know they mine. It's my choices that put this wedge between us, because that's a victim of the war on drugs and the mass incarceration that I'm trying to prevent. Like I said, every funeral happens without you. Every woman moves on without you. And the world keeps spinning like you never even existed. The streets celebrate too early. The streets celebrate too early. They celebrate the hit. They celebrate the diss. They celebrate the get back. They celebrate the headline. But they never celebrate the sentencing day. They never post the commissary line. They never post the prison bunk. They never post the fear at night. They never post the phone call when your mother breaks down and says, "Where's my baby? I miss you. I can't do this without you." Or your girl telling you, "I gotta have you. Do what you gotta do to get out. I don't care who you gotta tell on. Just get out of there." And you have to tell her, "Yo, just for even saying that, we done." Click. And just be cold-hearted as that and keep moving and go find another woman and know that we got to start all over again. You got to be cold-hearted and callous like that. They only show the fire. That's all they show on social media. They hide the ashes. This is what young boys must understand, right? Young boys must listen. Revenge is expensive. Street respect is expensive. Gang loyalty is expensive. Being feared is expensive. And the bill costs and comes and is paid up in the courtroom. Not on the block, not in the studio, not in the comments, in the court, in handcuffs, in front of your family, while strangers decide whether you live or die, or what prison you go to, or how long your freedom is going to be taken from you. I done broke down these 4 men behind me. I hope y'all are listening, man. They beat death row, but they lost everything. So yeah, they beat death row, but they lost freedom. They lost youth. They lost family. They lost purpose. They lost control. They lost the right to walk outside. They lost the right to hug who they want, when they want, how long they want, or where they want. They lost the right to wake up normal. Ask yourself, what did they really beat? Because from where I'm standing, the streets won. The prison system still won. The graveyards still won. And the family lost everything. Both families. Rest in peace to the victims. And my condolences to the family that lost their family members to have to go into the prison system because they got lost trying to guide their way while you was trying to find your way to be able to guide them. So no one is blaming you either. But let me tell you the jewel to this, because we riding. Here's the jewel, right? Pain is real, loss is real, betrayal is real. Street respect is real, but prison is realer. I'm always going to tell you that prison is realer than all that. And once that judge says life, your pain does not matter anymore. Your trauma does not matter anymore. Your street name does not matter anymore. The only thing that's left is the sentence. So before you crash out for revenge, ask yourself one question. Can you live in a cage for the rest of your life? Because that is what's standing on business will cost you. And that business is never worth your soul. Do you agree with me or not? Somebody put it in the comments, right? I'm going to run it down. Like, you know, there's a joint. Let me show you this joint, right? That's Davion's lawyer right there with the little hair up and all that. I made a comment where I want y'all to understand that when you're in a situation like Davion and you know it's over, you're just living for the moment. I swore it looked like that man was in the courtroom trying to flirt with his lawyer. And the lawyer told, man, chill out with that. You know what I mean? Like, she might just ignore it normally to get the case over with, but now he done took it to the courtroom. But that's when you're detached and you're broken and you accept your consequences. And the same way he would try and get a woman in the street is the way he tried to grab a woman in the courtroom. It's just the way it works. You understand? But let me ask you these 10 vital questions before we tap out. Did they really beat the death penalty, right? Y'all put in the comments, do you think they really beat the death penalty? Technically, yes, but spiritually, no. Life without parole is still a death sentence. It just moves slower. All right, question number 2. Is Davion Murphy built different to you? Do you think Davion Murphy's built different? How and why? Put in the comments. Let's do a little tutorial here. We got to get the comments going again in order to get me back in the algorithm. Somebody asked me, they say, man, you must have bought your subscribers. Like I said, so I'm going to show the flag, the plaque on both of these videos here. You know, I earned the plaque, but my content is so real, right? And I took off because my mother was ill. She's 92. And then trying to get back in the algorithm, I got to fight through, the blockage by y'all hitting the like button, giving me an emoji, saying a little comment, and sharing these videos, right? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. But that's where we at, right? But is Davion Murphy built different? Mentally, he appears different. He looks more accepting of the consequences, but being built for the prison is not a victory. That means the streets already damaged you. That's how that answer go. Next question, number 3. Can revenge ever be justified? Pain may explain revenge, but it does not erase consequences. Once you cross that line, the system does not care about your pain. It only cares about the body count. Make sure that count is right so they can make that money off of each body with that, what they called it, sweat equity. Why do men get remorseful after conviction? Y'all put that in the comments. Why do y'all think men and women get, remorse after they get convicted? Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm going to do so much better when I come out. I love you. Just hold me down until I get there. Because court makes a fantasy real. Before conviction, they still think they might win. So they hold on to their old ways as long as they can until that, conviction falls down. After conviction, forever walks in the room. That is when pride disappears and now they're submissive. Question number 5. Who suffers the most now, right? The families, Julio Fulio's family suffer. The defendants' families suffer. And the community suffers. The streets create victims on both sides because you have both mothers suffering the loss of a child and they lost it in different ways. Now, number 6, will they be respected in prison? Do you think these 4 men will be respected in prison? And you tell me why not? Maybe by some, tested by others. But respect in prison is not freedom. Respect in a cage is still a cage. So does it really matter? Question number 7. What is the biggest lie the streets tell? That revenge brings peace? Because it does not. Revenge brings indictments. Revenge brings funerals. Revenge brings life sentences. Right or wrong, put in the comments. The 8th question, we can't really tap out. Now I've been on here long enough. Did music make this worse? Did rap music make this worse? Music did not pull the trigger. But disrespect music can keep wounds open. When grief becomes entertainment, young men start confusing pain with purpose. That's dangerous. Question number 9. What should young people listen, or what should young people learn from this case? What do you think young people should learn from this case? Do not inherit beef, do not die behind lyrics, do not crash out for applause, and never let street loyalty cost you your whole life. Now, number 10, right? Let's get to question number 10, then I'm out of here. What is the final message, right? What do you think the final message is? Put in the comment. The streets are real. Death is real. Court is real. But prison, like I said, is realer. And once they give you life, everybody who hyped you up goes home. You stay forever. And that's what it is. Now, we've been here long enough. Subscribe to my daughter's YouTube channel, Unique Mecca Audio, and my man, Real Boss TTTV, and, got the banging music, Unique Mecca Audio Prison Stories, and cop the book of Raw in Harlem, Mecca Audio TV. You got all types of stuff going on. Anything Mecca, just get with it. Oh, yeah. This is why I do this. I want you to hear my man tap out before he go. Let's make this official. Murder Mook, all right?
Hey, what's going on, man? Murder Mook, Harlem, you know what it is, man. I just want to express how much gratitude I got for Unique, you know what I mean? I was telling him a story, telling him how I felt about, if anything was to go wrong with my career, rap-wise, if, should be slow, and I got so many opportunities to be able to do the wrong shit. When I watch Unique Mecca Audio, I feel it, and to my soul, and that's keeping me farthest away from doing anything criminal. Anything criminal. He made me think straight, honestly. Made me think straight. Because I've been watching him for about a year, like a year now, maybe. And it just took my mind way off of that. Way off of that. From a year ago, it got rough. For a year ago,
Yeah.
and from watching this man, I just felt like you saved me. You saved me. And I just want to show my gratitude, and I want to say thank you, man. Unique Mecca Audio, anything you need, brother, from me.
All right.
Anything you need, man.
All right.
Cheers, cheers, toast the crime, toast the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime.
Fresh out the can of 26, he back on the strip, getting back in the mix. What he mentions a gift. You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this. Take a little gully posse and put it in Harlem. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. The Instagram page and the YouTube, you could go and visit. Then you could consider yourself LinkedIn. Sit front row and get Jews from a kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. To not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block, did his time, never squilling to the cops, Mecca Audio. Get it live like 2 G's in the 90s. Drop top beamer so shiny. I let shorty go, she was whining. Treat her like my past, she behind me. Spend a couple bands on the Dapper Dan. You be back again, getting green like a Packers fan. No cap, it's a raw in Uptown. Baby horn Uptown, Dominican bust downs. Now we on the positive, we got a lot to give. Now he trying to stop the kids from being inoperative. So take heed, homie, lend an ear. He started in Uptown, he gon' finish dead. But now it ain't about selling drugs, buying cars. It's about buying property to make the community ours. So we can